What's up, my loves and fellow creatives? I am getting ready to work on a design for a client here who is one of our good friends, good friends, and members of the Innate Creatives. Let me know if y'all can hear me. I think you can because I just heard an echo. Alright, so working on finally on my desktop. I finally unpacked it. Literally, what, 6, 7 months has been packed away. So hopefully my desktop remembers how to work on Photoshop. If not, we're going to teach it today. And y'all forgive me, I'm looking at the chat on a different computer. So I'm going to do my best to multitask. Y'all know it's not my strength. It is actually a little bit of my kryptonite. But we're going to make it do what it do today. Alright, let me go ahead and pull up G stuff. And G, if you're here with me, go ahead and let me know in the comments if there's anything that I need to change or update for you. I'm going to go ahead and get our photos ready. This is the template from the 131 Innate Academy course, and it's been a really favorite template, so we're going to use this one today. Alright, we're going to do Gone But Not Forgotten is going to be the text. Let me go ahead and see how our photos are working, because I think we'll be able to use Remove BG to cut out some stuff, but it's going to be a little challenge, and I'm going to show you why. And I'm pretty sure all of you have dealt with these type of challenges too. So I'm going to go ahead and download our images first. Alright, so I think we have 3 photos here. And what I've started to do is just name them photo 1, 2, and 3, so then that way I know which ones I've downloaded. I know how I may want to arrange them, and I'm not looking at those long number names that you can't tell what it is that you're clicking on. So although I'm teaching you best practices, sometimes I don't practice my own best practices, which would be to label things appropriately, organize your layers really well. It definitely helps. So I'm going to bring over photo 1 for this project and see if it cuts. Sometimes inside the car can be a little difficult because it won't know the difference between the interior. So I think this worked out well. I'm just going to go ahead and build this back here. So I'm going to go to edit, the high resolution version of it, and hit edit here on remove.bg. And let's go ahead and restore just this little area here. And I'm not even going to erase this area here because I'm probably going to end up fading it off anyway. But you could use this erase feature. Now if you're on a tablet or something, this might work for you, but I absolutely loathe using this feature with a mouse. And it's even giving me lag right now, so that's even worse. And it's probably because I'm doing the live session too. But you see how you try to clean that up and it just gives you these little J.E. heartbreaks, little jagged edges? Yeah, I can't deal with it. So anyways, like I said, that I'll probably end up fading off the lower part of this anyway. I just wanted to demonstrate for you. If I needed to cut that off, I would have done it in Photoshop with the pen tool and made a nice clean curve right there. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and download that as our photo 1. And I'm going to keep the name of the file short there. We can close out of this one now. Let's do photo 2. And this one cut out well. So we'll go ahead and download that one. And then finally, I think photo 3 is going to be our biggest challenge. because there really is not a background. So I'm not even going to waste the credit trying to download the removal for this one. In order to use this, we're going to have to be a little bit clever because it is really cutting off, you know, part of his face and of course the top of the head as well. So we'll see when the time comes. You know, I like to get creative with things like that if we're going to use them. So I'm thinking that that third picture will probably be the photo that we use here. And it's a JPEG. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and go to photo 2. I'm just going to use it as a smart object. So we're going to drag and drop our, I think that was considered photo 3. We're about to see in just a moment. Yep, photo 3 there. So for this one, like I said, there's a lot of information, you know, as far as image goes, missing from this. So let's do our best to clean it up just a little bit, okay? So I'm going to turn off the previous layer, and we've got like a little bit of the face missing here and the top of the hat, but we're going to do as much fading as we can while still maintaining that there is a head, you know, up above. If you fade it off right to his forehead, it looks goofy every time. So I definitely don't want you to do that. Let's go ahead and add a new layer, and all I'm going to do is grab my paintbrush, bring my brush down in size a little bit, so I'm holding down the Alt and the Control at the same time. That would be Command and Option for the Mac users. And I'm going to get still a sizable brush because I want it to be soft and round. So if I come up here to my settings, my hardness should be 0, my size is 72. That'll work for this particular size image. And I'm going to hold down Alt so I can pick up one of these black colors here. And I'm just going to kind of give myself a little extra room out here. And the only reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to end up fading it off. But in order to fade something off, I need something to fade off. So I'm just adding a little here. Now, of course, I'm not painting on my actual photo, so we need to be aware of that. And then I'm going to grab like a little bit of the flesh tone here, do the same thing. It's going to look a little weird at first. Grab that black. Let's continue that out. Grab the black from his beard color there. Just build that out a little bit. This is just going to give us something to fade off. Now I'm going to kind of clean up a little bit where his face was, and I might even take, because the eyes are not symmetric, nor are they like always the same angle, so this is going to be a little tough. I might grab this little area here, Control C, Control V to copy and paste. And then I'll do Control T to transform, and I'm going to flip it horizontal. And I'll rotate it. And all I really want is just, I don't even need the eye per se, I just need a little extra skin out there. And of course this eye is going to be a little bit smaller because it's further away from the camera. Alright, so eyebrow looks to be in about the right place. I'll go ahead and drag that on top, bring the opacity all the way back, and at least I have a little something to pick some color from. Go ahead and throw that back on there. And I am going to bring the opacity down just a little bit. And I'm actually going to distort this. Let's go to Edit, Transform, and I'm going to distort it. Because I kind of need it to be somewhat of an angle. And I might have should have grabbed a little bit more eyebrow. Okay, so we see basically what I'm getting at is that we need a little something to build from right here, and I don't have any forehead there, but I will build a little bit of that forehead too. Now I don't need the entire eye, I just need this little side that's getting cut off right here. Just a little bit of it. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of rough cutting with the lasso tool about what I would assume the face area to take up. And then I'm gonna use my paintbrush, black, paint that away a little bit, bring back the opacity. Now I'm gonna paint away, gotta deselect though, paint away this that we made up. Make that brush a little bit smaller. And then I'm going with white now because white reveals, black conceals. And this is just going to give me a little something to sample. Now I'm going to drag my painted layer below. I think I probably could have painted these pixels better than this because this is really light. There's shadow over here on the side. Alright, now I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to fade off the edge of the photo here. So I need layer mask. Most of the time if somebody gives you something like this, it's probably going to be a lot more work than you may be accustomed to doing. So most times you can just kind of ask for an alternate picture. That probably will be best, but sometimes we just have to work with what we have. So in that case, that's why I am kind of just creating a little something so that when we fade this off it won't look ridiculous. I'm just filling that in a little bit there. Let's fade off the beard area just a little bit. Told you I'm dealing with this little finicky mouse right now, so I'm not being as precise as I want to be with this tool. Alright. Alright, so this is going to be a faded off image, so I don't want to put too much time into the details because basically we're going to end up seeing the face through it. But it's going to be more like a watermarked image. So let's get rid of that part. And this would be much better with the either a stylus, or I could even use the pen tool here just to kind of create a little facial curve there. I'm just going to kind of make it up a little bit. I'm on the layer mask, so I'm not painting on the image, but I'm just kind of cleaning up this edge a little bit. And then that way I can go add a little bit of this darker brown color because there's shadow on this side versus this cheek. There's highlight on this cheek, there's shadow on this one. So I'm going to grab a little bit of that darker color and let's do new layer. Then I'm going to right click, create a clipping mask so that it clips down to this layer. And I can change the blend mode, or I can change the opacity to where that color is just barely tinting what's underneath. Alright, so I'm going to call that done. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I think we now have something we can fade off. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I need to do a save as because I'm tripping. Alright, so now in order for this to be the PNG that we need it to be, I'm going to have to merge this down. So let's go ahead and merge those layers. And now it should update the smart object here. And of course you see how we have the border around here. This is why I wasn't so hard on myself, because we're going to fade this off. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the existing layer mask. Let's add a new one. And this time we'll still use our soft round brush. Make sure it's large enough for this graphic. It's about 600 pixels. And on my layer mask layer, I'm going to brush away. So see, if I didn't create the black back there, there would be absolutely nothing to brush off. And I'm going to show you something. If I brushed off his hat, you see how when you brush off like at somebody's hairline, it just looks like a weird, I don't know, it looks like a Teletubby. You know how Teletubby's face looks like it's pasted onto something different? Yeah, you want it to remain some type of top to the head, whether it's a hat, hair. Sometimes, you know, we have the photos cut off right at somebody's forehead, so you don't even see their hairline, and that can, you know, be a little bit jarring to the eyes when you see it. So we're able to work with that now. Perfect. Let's go ahead and see if this photo will work for our second image. And I have a standing up image, so we'll use that. And then we need to rotate it, so while it's in the transform mode, I'm gonna hover over this corner until it turns into a bendy arrow, and then once it's a bendy arrow, I can straighten it up. Right, and then we can go ahead and remove the layer below it, and it should still be a PNG because it's only a single layer with a transparent background now. And I can resize that accordingly. I just don't like when the dove is like right on someone's face, because you will kind of lose some detail. And then for this one, we're going to turn off the rainbow and the colors. Oh, we still have one more photo to change out. Let's change that one out. And I think we're gonna have the same issue here. Let me see. Nope, got the top of the hat there. Good. I thought it was cutting off the top of the hat, but that's actually very good for us right there. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and fade off the bottom of this image by adding a layer mask. Grab my brush here, and because this is a smaller file, I have to decrease the size of my brush there. And like I was saying, I was going to fade that off anyhow. I'm going to fade this side off so we don't see those hard lines. Y'all know how I feel about the hard lines. Alright, and then once I have that done, I can delete the previous layer, and let's go ahead and update and see what it looks like. I'm going to do a Control T to transform, just so I can rotate it just a little bit. Alright, and let's see, of course we have to change the colors and the text. So the colors, we're going to go with the blue, So let's duplicate that layer. And let's say we wanted to do blue with the, like maybe some darker and different shades of blue. So I'm going to, once you click on a color stop and you click anywhere where there is no color stop, it generates a duplicate of that color stop. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the peach one here. I kind of like the yellow, but we'll see if we're going to use it. But I am going to go ahead and give myself a darker blue here just so that I get a good variation. I'll delete that blue and I get a soft fade off there. So if you ever want that sherbet color, it's still there, but now we have an alternative one here now. Alright, so we're going to go with this one. We're going to say yes, and this is a smart color. So the smart color is going to update everywhere where we used it. So let's kind of give it a little time to update the main file. Yeah, I forgot all about y'all on the comments there. I was just working and ignoring y'all. I'm sorry. All right, so Pierre, you're working through the same thing. Yeah. And you know what, Adamus, I don't know if the 16650 does I'm pretty sure it does do two-sided printing because it is considered more like an office printer. Oh, look at our colors that updated. That looks nice. I wasn't expecting the, you know, the light orange to kind of flow with the blue like that, but I like it. But back to your question, I don't do double-sided prints on it because I strictly use my 16650 for sublimation. However, I do believe it is a dual-sided printer. I do believe it can pick the paper back up and print on the other side if you're using it for that purpose. Alright, so let's go ahead and change out our text now, and then I may lighten it up a little bit behind the face just so I see the features a little bit, but then I may not because I made up that feature right there, so we'll see. We shall see. Alright, we got too many things going on at once. So let's do our text here. Alright, so we're going to put gone but not forgotten. So let me see if I already have. No, I have forever in our hearts and always and forever. So depending on what type of text I'm doing, I may or may not use certain layers. For this one, I'm going to triple click to select the entire line, and I'll type gone, comma, but not, and then forgotten. And I don't know if there's a name to put on this one. I definitely want to put it if I have it, so let me check and make sure. And with names and dates, I like to copy and paste so that I make sure that I don't cause any extra issues by making a human error and mistyping something, because that can be something that's easily overlooked, and we could avoid that just by using a little copy and paste. Yep, so I do have a name. So I'm going to do the name here in the text, in this script, I'm sorry. So I'm on the move tool, and I'm going to select the text tool because sometimes I can triple click on it and it'll grab it, but sometimes it won't. So I just literally pasted the name there, and it's going to format it to what I already had there. And I am going to squish it in a little bit because when I do all overs, I want to make sure that all of my important stuff is within this dotted area, including the faces. And anything outside of that area, I would not cry if it cut off. So I'm aware that the image may look a little bit smaller. It's still not going to look small. It may look a little bit smaller on a 3X, but when you're doing a majority of your orders and you have 1 or 2 3Xs and the majority are your small, medium, and larges, or medium, large, extra large, then if I design to the large, extra large, and make sure that I'm photo safe and text safe for the small, medium, then anything that falls outside of this area is just extra, okay? So that extra is going to apply to 2X, 3X, and I don't have to worry about making a separate print for 2Xs, a separate print for large, a different size setup for smalls. This template, and the reason why it's developed like this, sometimes you all ask me for the separate files and I tell you to download the vapor files if you want the separate files. The reason why this one is the way that it is so that you can design one time and you can use this print. If you go to innatelab.com and you decide to do prints, then we print 36 by 44, and you can get everything from an adult small all the way up to an adult 3X. Some people have even gotten 4Xs out of these, okay? And it just makes it simpler for designing and uploading. Alright, and oh, let's make sure that we get our dates correct. That's another important thing that I do like to copy and paste so I don't get it wrong. So I'm going to copy that text. I'm going to come on down here. If you double click, let me show you something. If you double click, can I click out? So if I double click something, it selects just that word. If I triple click, it selects the entire line. So I'm triple clicking to get the entire line, and then I'm just gonna put some space between it until it spaces out how I feel like it looks best. And this one has -25 spacing between the letters, so I'm going to put 0 there and let it have its natural spacing. And then I'm just going to shrink this down just a little bit to make sure I don't lose any of it on a small shirt. And the name now looks a little squished, so I'm going to push it up just a tad. And then of course I need to change forever to forgotten. And now it's too long of a word, so I can either squish it. And I don't like to squish things too much. I'll squish something just to make it work. But if it looks odd, then I'll do something to make it look a little more proportionate. I don't know that proportional is a word. Y'all, I have definitely had a week. Actually, the last couple of weeks. So y'all forgive me. I'm doing everything that I can to be this superwoman, and every now and then I get a little tired. Alright, so it looks like we've got date, got name, message. If we want to spell check, and sometimes that's going to be like the least thing that we think about, but it's the easiest way to mess up an order. You can go up here to edit. Let's check the spelling here. Let's go to, we'll skip anything that's not activated right now, so it's not trying to spell check layers that aren't even visible, and it says that we have spelled everything correctly, so I'm happy with that. Let's see. I was checking to see if we had any feedback here. And I know my guy G, he definitely trusts me with this type of work, so I think we're good. And I'm gonna go ahead and do this as a 13 by 19 as well. 13 by 19, and then for socks. So y'all will get to see me convert this into like a sock size, okay? So we're gonna do all that together. Helena, if you put in a custom design request, you can choose the deadline that you need it by. I have not really been able to work weekends lately, and if I do, it's probably because I'm already pushed back and late on something else I was supposed to be working on. But if you go ahead and go online, go to the custom designs on innatelab.com and submit the request. If you say that you want to do it live, then I can go ahead and do it live. I might even be able to get you in today, depending on when you get it submitted. So yeah, I would love to help you with your birthday shirt for your granddaughters. All right, so I'm liking the way this looks. I like the colors, and then of course, this is a Photoshop editable file. So if you or if G needs to change out the colors, we definitely have that option. All right, so next is turning it into a 13 by 19 design. So I'm going to turn off the guides here. This is basically the printable file, right? I think one more thing I'm going to do. Let me go to where the photo is. I'm going to add a layer beneath the photos. I'm going to grab my brush tool and just paint a little bit of white. I've got a fresh layer there. I'm going to just paint, oops, that's not white. I'm going to go to my default swatches, bring white to the foreground. I'm going to paint a little white there just so it can kind of bring out the face a little bit, right? That feels better to me. And then if I want it, if it feel like it's a little too stark, I can even bring down that opacity a little bit. So the clouds still show through, still getting a little bit of that lightness, but it lets the photo show a bit more than it was showing before. I have these flares on this template, so you can move the flares around. In fact, I think I'm going to take flare here, bring it to the top of the text. And then I have one here at the bottom as well. I'll put it in the center of the name there. Or I can put it at the bottom. And put it at the bottom. So it kind of goes with the dates there. I think that looks good. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick save as a JPEG or a PNG. JPEG is probably fine. You can do PNG as well. It's not like we're preserving any transparent pixels or anything, so it doesn't matter that it's a PNG, but I have heard that PNGs preserve colors better than JPEG, so that might be an advantage to saving as a PNG. Let's close up the blings and let's find our layer mask here that we can activate. Now this activates this layer mask and gives us an opportunity to see what it would look like as a 13 by 19 design. So even here, I can add a new layer. If I want to see a little more color down here where the clouds are, maybe I'll grab this blue for a second. And just show you what it looks like. Because some of you were saying, oh, well, how do I get more color down there? Just paint a little color. Or if you don't want to paint the color, you want it to be a smart object kind of deal, then grab your smart object, make a copy of it, put it in the background there, and it even recolors the image there. But I'm going to add a layer mask so it doesn't recolor everything. I just wanted to kind of give a little color to this outside mask. So I'm going to take my brush tool, make a big old soft round brush here, and then I'm going to brush away everywhere except for those very edges, so I get a little bit of my original coloring features back in there. And that way, you know, you get a little more bang for your buck. It's not white down here at the bottom, so you do look like you have a bigger 13 by 19 image. And I'm bringing the opacity of the cloud out just a little bit. I'm also going to change the levels just a little bit. So I'm going to add a adjustment layer, and I'm going to play with these levels just to kind of make those clouds pop just a little bit more. You see how it's adding more contrast to the clouds back there, and it's allowing it to color it in a little bit better. And there's something going on right here. What am I touching? Photos. It's not in my photos layer. What is that? I see a little bit of green there for some reason. Oh, I see. That is where the color is transitioning. So I'm just gonna leave it alone. It's fine. I was gonna get a little too far into the detail without any rhyme or reason. Alright, this looks good, and I think I see like a little hard cut off there because I don't think it had the full shoe there, so I am going to, you know me, I don't like the hard lines even if it's barely there. Let's go ahead and add a layer mask, grab our paintbrush, make sure we have black loaded up because black is going to conceal, white reveals. And I'm going to make this brush a little bit smaller and brush down here where the feet are. Excuse me, folks. Alright, so now that works as a 13 by 19. And, oh, I do want to show you too. You can take the black and white off. Use the color. I think we'll use the color. I thought the color was going to look bad because I made up a lot of this information around this image, but I think it looks pretty good. And of course you can make this more or less transparent. I'm going to add a little bit more opacity there. And then this image I'm going to take down the field just a little bit. So it's sort of watermarked, it's not overwhelming, and I'm going to have to brighten up this photo just a little. Let's do an adjustment layer and let's do the levels. And before I start playing too much, let me create a clipping mask so it only affects the photo underneath. Y'all saw it was affecting all the layers underneath. And I'm going to brighten it up a little bit because when this prints, if you don't have good contrast and a bright enough photo, it will just make everything look dark and you won't be able to see the difference in the details. So that looks good. For the 13 by 19, typically if I were designing this as a 13 by 19 secondary to doing all over, I probably would take all of this text, move it down, maybe even make the photos a little bit bigger because I have a taller space to work with. But because this has to work as an interchangeable file for the all over and the 13 by 19, I'm going to leave everything right where it is. And now I can turn off the background. This gives you an idea. I always put some kind of funky color in the background just to see like if I'm running off the page or something's getting abruptly cut off. Turn that off. And then I will turn off the t-shirt outline there, and then I'm going to save this as a PNG. And I'm just going to take off the word 13 by 19. I mean all over and put 13 by 19. So we have 2 variations of the design right now. And the final thing is to be able to do socks. Now, if you're just doing socks, you really don't need a template if you've measured it out. So I will literally go File, New, and let's do, I think the socks are about 4 inches wide and maximum 19 inches tall. So I'll put 19 as the height. And then for the width, I'm going to do 9 just to give it a good bleed, just in case. It's a little bit wider than the socks that I sell with the jigs already in them. They're each sock is about 4 inches wide. So if you put 9, then you're going to end up with at least half an inch all the way around. All right, and I'm just going to take all of this. This is what I tell you can do if you wanted to make a variation of your template for another purpose. Well, this whole folder right here is called Art. I'm going to take this whole folder, drag it from one artboard and drop it on another. It should be huge. Oh, it looks like it resized it appropriately. Alright, and if these are going to be socks, and I want to make sure that my faces stay up top because I don't know if they're going to be short, you know, crew socks, or if they're going to be knee highs, but either way, the image should be towards the top. And then, of course, I'm going to move these around because I don't want the socks to split right on a face photo, so we'll just make it look a little bit better. And the only thing that we're going to put on the socks, only text, will be the name. So I'm going to turn off everything else. And again, I don't know what's going to cut off, so either you're going to do left and right and then have some bleed on the far left and the far right that you don't mind if it gets cut off, or you can kind of design with the sides in mind. So some people press side to side, like you want to see from the side of the ankle what's on the sock. In this case, I'm going to design flat across the front as if both legs were completing one image. So I do need to kind of play with my sizing just a little bit. Let me view my rulers. And I'm going to change this to where it's in inches instead of pixels. So if you ever wonder how to do that, just right click, click on inches, and there we go. And then if I pull from my ruler side, I should create a guide, and I want one about, what did I make this, 9, so about 4.5. There we go. And this will let me know kind of where my break is. And like I said, I want all the photos to be on there, but I don't want to intentionally break on a person's face. So I'm going to leave that one there. I'll take this one, do Control T, and just transform it a little bit. And I'm just working on my placement. I don't mind if it cuts off a little bit of the cap, but I don't want it to distort someone's face. So that's what I'm most, well, attempting to be most aware about. We are going to reduce this heart here. So let's take the heart, the doves, We don't need the rainbow right now, but I'm going to include it. And then also the patch of white that's right here behind the faces. Then I'm going to Control T to transform that. I'm going to bring it in. And of course, if I want to be able to make this out on a pair of socks, I have to be a little careful about how wide I make the design. Otherwise, you won't really even be able to tell it's a heart because it will more than likely get cut off towards the edge there. So now my transparent photos, I'm going to just go ahead and make them all the way opaque here, and then the blend mode I'm going to place on normal for a moment. And this is just helping me to figure out where everything can fit. And I'm going to bring back down the opacity for my transparent photos. And of course, I have to add something right behind here to ensure that I can see the face and that the doves don't cut that off. And I'm going to be using white just to brush a little bit of white right there. If you notice, it also kind of makes it look like glowing from behind, so you can do that as well. And this part that's hanging out of the cloud, let me go ahead and get my paintbrush and paint that off just a little bit. Here we go. Hey G, I'm working on your socks right now, and you're on YouTube Live. Oh, I think I hear me in the background. uh, Hold on just a second. Let me check it out. Sorry about that, loves. I hope y'all can hear me now. I hope I was on mute the first time I was talking. But I was just checking in with G and making sure that everything was good. So we're good on this side, and we're going to go ahead and figure out what we're going to do with the placement of the text. So what you can do with text, you can kind of make it small, like really small, so that you can make sure that you don't clip it off when you do left to right. Me, what I like to do is kind of just let it go down and up the sock. So then that way it's not really on the side, but it has that sideways appearance, but you have to give yourself enough clearance. Otherwise, you will mess yourself up. So I'm going to take the text here. I have to directly click on it to make sure I'm touching it. Here we go. So Forever in Our Hearts is what I'm selecting. So I'm going to do Control T. So it's going to grab everything in this folder. And I'm going to hold down Shift so that it rotates it exactly 90 degrees. Now, if I put it too close to this edge, it's definitely going to get cut off. So I just have to be aware of what I'm doing. And sometimes you have to print a sample to know what you're going to lose. So what I'm going to do, so that I don't lose the first or the last name depending on which direction it's printed, this is going to be a front and back. So I'm trying to be considerate here of which one is going to print where. Basically, if the same thing is printed front and back, I don't want it to be on both sides. So this is where I decide I do the taco method if I'm going to print socks that have a continuing design from left to right. And by taco method, meaning that I print the same print, right? And then I will fold both of those prints at the same time so that it leaves me a center crease, and then I will stuff one sock in one taco and the other sock in the other taco, and it makes sure that my design is going to be continuous. If you do the front press, then the back press method, so we'll call that the hamburger method, right? That means that you're basically going to sandwich the socks, and I just came up with that. Y'all came up with the taco method, I came up with the hamburger method. These are like genius ideas over here, just so you know. So the hamburger method, if you have a top bun, bottom bun, if you're going to press the top, then when you flip those socks, you have to keep them together when you flip them. Otherwise, it will be right reading and make sense from the front, but then when somebody turns around, you're like, wait a minute, did the legs just switch up? It won't match up. So you have to keep them together. So the way that I found out, if I use the taco method, then I get my continuous, wrapped looking design, but I don't have to be so careful about, did I flip my socks the right way? And you'll know what I'm talking about when you try to do front and back press socks. So the hamburger method is just thinking of, okay, well, I'm going to do one single press across the socks, then I'm going to flip them and do another press. You can even try to press them together if you have some adhesive spray, and you can keep your paper together and then flip it as one big hamburger. Or I do the taco method where I encase one sock with a single 13 by 19 sheet of paper, and then I do press them at the same time, but when I flip them, they're independent. So they're independent tacos, and I can just flip them as needed. So I said all that to say that I want to make sure that this doesn't get cut off. So I'm going to place this way up top. We'll have a little bleed to the side and a little bit of bleed from the top. And here's the thing too, if you're doing really long socks, use your 13 by 19 mask to leave the bottom of the socks white. If you don't want to leave the bottom of the socks white and you want it to be full color all the way through to the toe, the socks that we offer have a little black toe on them. So even the long socks, even the large size socks, if you print the full 19 inches of the paper, that last little, because it's a 20-inch sock, that last little black part, you don't have to worry about the design going there because the toe is covered with the black. So you won't see anything sublimating there anyhow. So if you're wanting to do that, just disable that layer mask. We have color going down to the end here, and then I'm just going to take this color Control T to transform that. And let's build that out a little bit. And I can clearly see where some stuff is cutting off here. This looks like, is that my fog? Yep, so my fog is that hard line down there that was originally hidden. I need to mask that off so I don't see that hard line there. So let's grab this brush tool and let's fade it off. And I'm probably cutting it a little close here, but I don't mind if it cuts off his arm. I just did not want it to cut off anything important like the text in the face. And I will fade off the bottom of the jeans here a little bit now, just because it looks a little more out of place now that the heart is smaller. Same thing here with the face. Bring the face down just a little bit in size. And I'll fade off a little more of this side here. And maybe even a little bit up here so the dove can show through a little more cleanly. And I think we have it. Now you can move these independent elements. These are our middle clouds. We can pull those up a little bit if we want. There we go. All right, so I will save this as a socks. And of course, all of these are editable. So if your jig is a little bit wider, you can create a wider artboard. Like I said, when I do mine, I actually do 8. I think I do 8.5 by the full 19. And then let's say I don't need, like if I'm doing short socks, like the toddler socks, then I probably won't print the very bottom of here. I'll fade it up into white, or I'll just, you know, cut it off so that I don't waste ink down there. And then if I'm doing the full bleed socks for the medium size or the large size, then I just go ahead and print the full page, because it's not that much of a difference in what I would be saving from the medium to the large. But the toddler size socks do, you know, it will save you a substantial amount of ink if you don't print this bottom. I think it's maybe about 4 inches that you can save, 4 inches worth of ink. And if you're doing game sheets, like you're doing a lot of images to a single sheet, you can actually do 2 of these to a 13 by 19. Okay, so a 13 by 19, you can literally take 2, and then especially if you fade it off from white to the bottom, then you can absolutely get 2 to 1 13 by 19, and you do your taco method with those 2, and you have 2 pair of socks sublimated front and back with a single 13 by 19 sheet, and that's pretty significant. All right, so let me save while I'm talking, and then I'm going to check on y'all's comments, come back to you, see what y'all are up to. Oh, yeah, sorry y'all couldn't hear me earlier. I actually muted myself, so because I know G was trying to hurry up and talk to me, and I didn't let him know he was on live, so I wanted to mute just in case, you know. Let's see here. All right, Andrea got her Epson sheer color 5270. Awesome, awesome. So that's the 36-inch printer, big boy, for those who are wondering. Yes, I can tell you exactly what you need for the conversion kit. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's do... Let's go to the Innate Lab website. That one. And let's go to the sublimation inks and blank section. So this is the ultimate kit. This is everything that you need, plus the backup chips and the backup maintenance tanks. You will need maintenance tanks whenever you're doing the print head cleanings. Basically, these get filled up with the residual ink, and even if it's not full, Epson will tell the system that your maintenance box is full, and you will not be able to print if it thinks it's full. Okay, so you'll need these maintenance cards here as backup. Now your printer is going to come with them already installed, so you're going to be set. The cartridges that you receive with this kit are already going to have these little chips on them, so you're set. But this is an extra set of chips, because what happens is if one cartridge reads empty, my suggestion, and this is just trial and error, I go ahead and when one of my cartridges tells me it's empty, I will go ahead and reset all 5 cartridges. And the reason why, there's 2 different reasons. One is because sometimes the printers just might read it funny and think that one of your cartridges doesn't belong, and it'll kick back some errors, and it will aggravate the mess out of you, because it'll happen, you know, randomly, and the cartridge there's nothing wrong with it. You'll just have to pull it out and pop it back in, and it'll reread it. So what I've learned to avoid that issue, and also when you reset your cartridges at different stages of the game, they tend to in order to initialize those cartridges is wasting ink. So what I've learned, because I don't like to waste ink, is just to go ahead and take that chip, and when one cartridge says that it's empty, and normally it's not going to run dry, it's not going to run empty, because you're going to fill it more than Epson thinks that it needs to have in that cartridge. But go ahead and redo all the chips. Go ahead and top off all of the ink so that it thinks you have a brand new set of ink. And when I tell you, that works so much better than having to deal with the the magenta's halfway, and the cyan is at 10%, and the black is at 30%. We don't have to deal with that. If we go ahead and reset them all at the same time, you don't have to worry about finding that little screwdriver or whatever you need to wedge the chip out. You just do it all at once, make it a sit down and do it right one time, and you don't have to worry about making a mess whenever you need to change out inks. Okay, so that's my suggestion for the first timers, because here you'll have everything that you need. You'll have a full set of inks. The cartridges are huge. They take 700 milliliters of ink, and you have 1,000 milliliters in these bottles, so you'll still have a little less than half of a bottle. Oh no, it would be way less than half of a bottle, but you'll have almost half of a top off available left in the bottles, if that makes sense. So so basically, if you start to use that bottle, or once you kind of fill that up, if you ever have to go back and top off, you want to make sure that you order an additional set of ink at that point, because then you'll have good amount of prints you can get through. You have your other set of ink on its way, and then you're not dealing with downtime because you're waiting on one color or anything like that. So my suggestion is, once you tap into that second pour, go ahead and order you whatever that color is, order that color ink. And then that way you don't have to keep buying the big kits. You can buy what you need as you need it. Okay. Same thing with the maintenance carts and the chips. So you just order a set of chips. Once you pop in your chips, go ahead and buy you another set of chips. Have them on standby. I can't tell you, have maintenance. If you pop in those maintenance carts, go ahead and buy another pair of maintenance carts, just so that you can have on standby. The last thing you want to be doing, and I'm telling you this from experience, is to be sitting there staring at a big old beast in your space that you can't use because you don't have a tiny little 1-inch chip. It's not even 1 inch. I think it's smaller than that, right? So take it from me. I've been there, done that, and I'd rather you learn from my tuition than you pay the price. Okay. All right, so let's see, any more questions? And it looks like everything here is in stock. So you would get 5 cartridges, of course. Here, let me see if I can zoom. Oh, it doesn't zoom in that much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cartridges. You get 5 inks, and the cartridges, like I said, have chips on them. Then you'll get an extra set of chips and a set of maintenance carts, which you already have. These are where the maintenance carts are on the machine. You just pull them out and pop them in if it says it's full. And that's that. That sets you up. I have a whole video showing you me setting up my 7270 twice. So if you have any questions, definitely I have that video available. And then you can also message us in the Innate Creatives Facebook group if you run into any issues. But for sure, do not put the inks that come with the Epson in there, because then you have to wait for that ink to clear the lines. And this isn't like a little desktop printer that you can pop one ink in, take the next ink out, and within like 5 minutes the sublimation ink is printing. Once you feed the pigment ink, the standard pigment ink through the system, then you have to wait for it to purge itself out. So you have to use up all of that ink in the lines before it will start to pick up your sublimation ink. Learned that the hard way too. So make sure that if you're planning on starting sublimating as soon as you get the machine, just go ahead and I show you that on my video. I went ahead and filled up the cartridges and used them straight out of the box with the printer brand new out of the box. Alright, so hopefully that was helpful. Let me make sure I have saved these things. And I'm going to go ahead and bring back, this is an all over design, just by right clicking and disabling the layer mask there. Oh, this is the layer mask for my front clouds. I have a layer mask going for the back clouds as well. So let's disable. And then this is the layer mask for the front clouds. We can go ahead and, if I enable it, you see all it does is just clean up these little front clouds a little bit. And then of course I'm going to turn back on my shirt outline and my white background so I don't see the transparency through there. I want to see what my image is really going to look like when it's printed. Absolutely, Andrea. If you you need the cartridges. As a matter of fact, these are refillable cartridges. The cartridges that the printer comes with, they're not sublimation ink, and it's not a reusable cartridge. So absolutely, you will need the cartridges. That's a good question. So Andrea, if you get yours in place, let's see, I'm trying to think of how my schedule's a little crazy right now. Do you have paper yet? Do you have sublimation paper? Because what I might be able to do, if you need to do a setup, like I said, I need to check my schedule. I may be able to help you set it up. And if you don't mind, if we do it live, then maybe that'll be something other folks can watch too. If you can, okay, so you have nothing but the printer, and I can bring the things that you need. So if you go ahead and order it online, and I guess we'll talk about this after live, or we can talk about it now, it's cool. Because we won't discuss details. I just don't want, you putting your address and nothing like that on the live. But let's do that. I got you, love. Let's do that. So we'll discuss that. Email us at innatelabstaff@gmail.com, and I think you can also go to the contact us on the innatelab.com webpage and let me know that you want to do a setup and what's a good time and day for you, because I am running a little crazy these days myself, but I believe that's something that we should be able to help you with. All right, and that seems like it'll be something exciting. get you going, and you'll have True Ink. So if you're interested in being a partner, since you will have True Ink and and I can bring some paper for you too if you want something to start off with. But I also make sure that you order some paper, just so that you know where to order it from and how fast it gets to you. Uh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, thanks, E. And I think this is for some of his people, his clients that needed this at the last minute too. So this is definitely G came through for me today on something I needed help with, and I was gonna make sure I came through for him. You know how we do. This is a network. When this is a family. So yes, Andrea, we'll discuss those details and see if it is tomorrow was what, Thursday? First of all, just go and get it in the house. I know it's probably raining. I know you're excited, but I want you to get it in the house because I hear that thunder and I don't want it to get to you. So get it in the house, and if you can go ahead and get it on the stand, that will be good. So I can just help with the setup. But if you need help with that part of it, like let's say it's just you by yourself and you really need help like picking it up and assembling it, then let me know if that's what you need help with, and I'll make sure that I bring help for that. Okay, good. All right, north side. So yeah, we'll get those details together, and we'll announce it. I'm sure everybody will be all excited. It'll be like a virtual powwow that we haven't been able to have yet. So, and it'll be excited to finally get to see you and meet you in person. Awesome, awesome. So yep, everybody congratulate Andrea. She's on the large format train now. Ain't no going back. No more 13 by 19 tiles. All right. Let me go ahead and save my work while I'm over here just talking. And let's see, there's something else I need to do too. I am just playing a little bit of catch up here. I'm also working on some stuff for you all. Uh, mm, mm, mm. I'm gonna check and see. I was waiting on a quote from B&H to see if they would give us any special pricing on the 7270s and 5270s. So let me check on that real quick because y'all know I will forget in a heartbeat. I'm just gonna check and see if they emailed me that quote yet. No, they said they would give it to me by the end of the day. And thank y'all. I appreciate you all using my affiliate links. Um, I never really promoted them before because I would get so caught up in whatever it is that we were doing on our projects. But you all have been using them, and it has, those little coins, they add up. So I just want to tell y'all thank you. When y'all click on the links, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it's almost like you're giving me a tip without having to actually come out of pocket. So anytime that you can use those affiliate links, they are definitely helping out. Even if it's just that little percentage here and there, it adds up, and it at least pays for things like the website and a lot of these tools that I use in order to make this channel work for you all and the academy. Awesome. Olive Fun, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you found us. Yeah, I'm a talker. Yeah, when I'm doing stuff, I'm either talking or working. So you'll see that about what we do here. But for the most part, we have a lot of newbies to Photoshop, a lot of newbies to sublimation in general, and we do have an academy that goes a little more hand to hand, guiding you through things. So we do have classes that we do on Sundays primarily, and we're usually walking through the digital process and learning Photoshop and getting your designs to be things that you can really wow your market, whether your market's online, whether it's a local market. you can really stand out. And what you all tell me that you need are the classes that I teach. So it's almost like you get to request what it is that your business needs, and I get to understand what it is that you need. So we all work together here. Yes, Erica, would you post the Academy link? As a matter of fact, we are this weekend. We're working on ties, socks, and the cufflinks. It's going to be a template that has all three of those items. I'm still working on it. I kind of been backed up, so I am working on that class. Let's go to the Academy just to kind of show you what it involves. So on YouTube, I do my best to just give you all the free knowledge that I can give away. I even show you in most of the demonstrations for the Academy and for the templates how it works from inside out. The difference with the Academy is that we literally do take it step by step, and instead of me just demonstrating what I can do from my computer, I'm not even using my computer on the Academy. You're using your computer, and if you're in a live class, then you have the opportunity to share the screen with me. I can take over the mouse if I need to. I draw on your screen and tell you where to click. And I make sure that every student in the live class gets to a final design by the end of class. That's my goal, and our motto there is no creative left behind, right? So nobody's left behind. Everybody's going to have a final product by the time we're done with class. And now you're not going to press that, but you are going to have that design. Now pressing will be a whole nother thing. I've had people literally stay up the night of a class and press it up just because they wanted to hurry up and see it on something real, because they were that proud of themselves. And you absolutely have that option. What I ask for you to do is at least post your digital mock-up in the Innate Creatives group, so that number one, you're putting yourself out there for a chance to win $100 in the templates or a free set of True Ink. So that's a plus. But at the same time, if you had the energy and you had the resources to go on and put up your mock-up on the Innate Creatives website or on the Innate Creatives group, then you also have that same energy and resources to go ahead and put that thing up on your social media, put it up on your website, because you will already have a mock-up ready. So I have started to give you all my mock-ups with every single class. So with the class, you get a template. We walk through the template and you make it your own. You design it, you put your images in there, you change your colors. For instance, this was the class that we just did. The last one was 131. And we showed you how to design it as an all over. You also have the option to break it down to a 13 by 19. You change colors, edit the text, and I even give you the mock-up file to go with it. Okay, so a lot of you all are taking advantage of that and using the mock-ups now. So I see y'all's mock-ups. I ain't mad at them. Y'all take my little stuff off of there and you put your stuff on there. So I'm excited for that, because that means you're making it your own and you're putting yourself out there in the market. And that's how you expose yourself. That's how you let people know what it is that you can do. Okay, and although it's a mock-up right now, it's nothing to print this out and press it on a shirt, but you didn't have to waste the whole shirt just to show people how you can design. Okay, what's up, G&E Photography? How's it going? How's it going with the new setup with the big boy and the big girl? So I'm gonna call the heat press the big girl and the printer the big boy. How's it going? And I think you had some stoves to do and all that good stuff. Rona, the supplier for the shirts, as a matter of fact, no. And I don't know, they just came off of, it was Chinese holiday. I think it was like their either Labor Day or Memorial Day. I think it was at Labor Day. And it ended on the 6th. So from that whole time, we had like no communication. Then they were catching up on communication and being very delayed. So I'm just now getting, some of that communication back. And I haven't I did get some information about the large heat press. I wasn't happy because I have several people contacting the supplier from different, different emails and sources, and it's pretty clear that we're all coming from the same place, and people are getting different price quotes. So I'm not happy about that because I'm literally referring people to them, and then folks are coming and saying, oh well, I was quoted $550 for shipping, oh well, I was quoted $800 for shipping, and they're going literally to the same place. So I don't like that. I have expressed my concerns. I've asked to actually speak to their corporate so that we can have some understanding and some basically some common ground on if I am referring people to them. I want y'all to be safe. I want y'all not to order on WhatsApp. No, don't place any order through WhatsApp. Place it through Alibaba so that you have your protections if anything goes awry. Okay, that's just going to be important. That's standard. As a matter of fact, even if you start a conversation in WhatsApp, because they like to do that sometimes to show you videos and that sort of thing, they can show you those same videos on the Alibaba platform, but any details that they give you, any agreements that you come up with on the WhatsApp, it's not necessarily something that you can enforce if anything were to happen with your Alibaba contract. Okay, so I know everyone's excited. I'm excited. I probably will order one just to go ahead and get things going for myself. But I do want to, and I did show you all that a single port, if you're getting 4 of the, like someone, let's say South Carolina, 4 people needed at South Carolina port, it's best to coordinate that if all 4 people can order at once, because the shipping I think goes down somewhere between $200 to $300 per person. And then in addition to that, if you all are also transporting from that port to your homes, no longer are you paying $1,500 or $800 or whatever from the port to your home. You can coordinate one driver to go to that port and drop them off at those 4 homes, hence probably saving you another $800 to almost $1,000 depending on how close you all might stay to one another. So I can't physically coordinate all of these transactions for you all, but they do have a word you can use. Shanon Wooden, you can use Innate Lab to say that, hey, with this group, we're trying to order 4 units. So if you order 4 units, it takes $100 off the price. But the bigger deal is if those 4 units are going to one port, the shipping cost is much less. And let me see if I can pull that up because I'm just talking and I could have just shown you. Let me see. Let me take a little sip of my tea. Where are we? No, that's not it. Here we go, Facebook. Alright, so I updated some information for y'all. And if y'all ever wonder why I made it to where only I can post on this page, it's because I could never find anything. So I apologize if y'all don't like that format, but I think it makes it easier when people need to know, what's going on. Where is it? Oh, you know what? Maybe I passed it. I think it was the one with the picture of the press. There it is. Okay, so this is what I'm working out right now. This was the latest information that I received, and I'm working on getting this down to where it's supposed to be, because I was originally quoted that Jacksonville would be $550, right? So now it's $710. And then these what they call incidental fees, which is kind of like insurance, I suppose, but those are drastically changing depending on who's quoting you and where you're picking up. So I am making it a point to make this information very standardized so that anybody can go to them and say, hey, here's my screenshot. This is what you already quoted somebody. This is what I would like you to stick to. And I want us to be very firm in that, because the fact of the matter is, we have to recognize when our dollars are powerful in what they can do for us. And if we work as a group, it will work for us. I've already had like this particular person quoting me saying, hey, is this person with you? Is this person with you? And a lot of your names are coming up. So I know you all are interested. I know you all are wanting to place orders. And some of you have already placed orders. So I've been telling her to make sure that she gives you the discount. So the press itself is supposed to be $14.07 if you're basically ordering under my name instead of $15.07. So actually it should be $1,400 instead of $15.07. So if any of you were quoted $15.07, go back and say, hey, I'm with Shannon. It's supposed to be $1,400 because we're ordering at least 4 as a unit, and that's supposed to work. If that does not work, screenshot it. Let's put it here and let's get this, business taken care of. One thing that I did express to her is that if people are getting different prices, it makes it look unprofessional and untrustworthy. So I want to make sure that we stay on a good tip with this entire process. Also, make sure that y'all are ordering through the Alibaba platform so that you have some form of protection. Otherwise, if you're doing it through WhatsApp or anything else, you may not have any room for repercussions, incidentals, none of that, depending on how you make your purchase. So make sure you're doing that accordingly. Like I said, some of these, let's say for instance like Los Angeles, I'm actually thinking of making a trip to Los Angeles just because if there's enough people in California that want to get them, then maybe we can order at once and have a little meetup or whatnot to go ahead and pull those from the port. But for $930 for 4 units, that means shipping would be less than $250 per person, when initially we were quoted about $550. So I just want you to keep those things in mind. I'm also asking her to update me on the incidental prices, and I want her to come down on these shipping prices, okay? So I'm trying to play a little hardball. Sometimes it's difficult with the time differences between us because when we're asleep, they're working and vice versa. They're about 12 hours different from us. So if y'all have any input on that, post your screenshots. Whatever quotes they give you, write down here. And is it still open for, I didn't know if it's still open for comments. If so, so I think at some point the comments were frozen. Post your screenshots of your quotes. And that means that accountability has to be had. Like they have to deal with us as a group. They have to deal with us, professionally, coming to them and saying that that we are demanding that they be fair with pricing and also with respecting us as a group of people who are coming and spending money at one time. Okay. All right, so Andrea, we can definitely order one together. I think there's a couple more people in Jacksonville. And so that's going to be our responsibility to go through this and say, okay, well, literally go through these comments. Who said Jacksonville? Who said Jacksonville? And then I'm going to get with the folks in Jacksonville and say, okay, well, let's go ahead and order together. I'm in Jacksonville. Come on. Come on, raw chili. Raw chili. I almost called you Ranch chili. But yeah, come on, raw chili. Let's do this. If you're ready to order, then if we can do 4 units, then let's go back to what we talked about. You're in Jacksonville. And this is just a lesson on how we can work together in business. This is not me trying to do all this for y'all, because I guarantee you I don't answer my phone for even my best of friends most times. So I'm not finna pick up no phone and coordinate y'all's situations, but I am trying to at least show you how to conduct business, how we can work together to make the most of our businesses. Okay, so she's telling me 710. I'm gonna get that down to 550. Period. And then if that's down to 550, then I want this down as well. You understand what I'm saying? So the 4 units, yeah, we're gonna get that down. So basically what it should boil down to is if you're doing 4 units to a certain location, the cost of shipping per person should be lower. And then the incidental, what I was told is that the incidental cost is per shipment, not per item. So if there is an incidental fee, one person told me an incidental fee was $220, $250. Another person told me an incidental fee is $600. So I'm in the process now of getting that clarification from the supervisor so that I understand that this is what the price really is. And once they lock in that quote and once they start an invoice for you and you pay that invoice, they have to honor those prices. So that's why it's important to negotiate up front and hopefully get these details worked out. And then that way, once they sign a contract, I don't care if the shipping charges went up because of COVID or anything else, they have to honor what the contract price stated. Okay? So some of you have already ordered, and I know some of you who have already ordered, go ahead and post your screenshots, because what's happened is I know some of you have already sent me your screenshots or sent Erica your screenshots, right? So then when we go to them like, yeah, well, this person paid this, and oh, okay, well, then we can adjust. Yeah, that's how we have to stick with one another. Okay, so I also want you to understand it's not an instant thing. They're stating that it takes about 20 days to manufacture it and about another 30 to 35 days for it to be received at your port. So you're looking at about 2 months of time that it may take for this thing to get to you. Of course it can get sooner, but it appears the way that things are going right now that the COVID pandemic has been affecting I think India now, and the same way when it affected China, it slowed down shipping, it slowed down production, it made things way more expensive to express ship. This will be coming by sea, so of course it's already got that long 20 to 30 day time frame already, so we have to imagine that there may be some delays. So I just want you to keep that in mind. If you're looking for a quick heat press, I don't even know where you can get quick large format heat presses right now unless you're ready to order the ones that's made in the USA. Okay, and those are about 5 times more expensive. Okay, the Geonite, Maxi Press, and can't think of the other right now that's US made, but those are easier to get in the States. It still might be a week or two turnaround on having those delivered, but for $10,000 you can have a press at your door within maybe a week or two with a freight fee. Okay, Latoya. Absolutely. And let me see what the Savannah, because the Savannah and Jacksonville are very close as well, because I think Savannah, that's above Brunswick. Yeah. So yeah, if you're willing to do Jacksonville, we can definitely, as a matter of fact, if y'all want to hop on that like tonight, I'll be online with her again tonight, trying to get these questions answered. It seems like I have to pull teeth to get the questions answered. So yeah, I'm going to ask her one more time to speak to her supervisor, and if she doesn't help me do that, then I will definitely just contact headquarters myself. Because when you do contact them, you're going through the salespeople. And I want to speak to the the head honcho so they know that we're coming. Plus, I want them to be aware of this for production, because here's what's going to happen. If we're all ordering units, and they're telling everybody that it's going to be 30 days and these people aren't talking to one another and they're not increasing production or not prioritizing us, because that's the other thing. When you order in bulk, they're supposed to prioritize you and put you in front of somebody who might just be ordering a single unit, because they want our business in the long run. So we need to use that to our advantage. We need to use these numbers to show, hey, we're ordering at least 10 units this week. Go ahead and put us up on production so that we can get shipped out sooner. Let's see. Okay, so even the American brands are, you're talking about mid-June, and that's what I was figuring, because I can't even find them used right now. You know how normally you can go and on Craigslist and you can see somebody selling a used Maxi Press, and some of these other, even the Chinese made presses where we don't know the brand, but we know that it's single phase, large format, it'll work for our systems. That's not happening right now. These Craigslist is bare. Okay, so that means a couple of different things. One, there's high demand, and with this high demand, it's difficult for them to drive the prices down because they know that people really need them. And secondly, people are using their stuff, which is a good sign because that means that business is doing well for those who have large format setups. It wasn't this way last summer, when we were just kind of considering doing large format. There were so many of these large format presses all the way from California on down to Florida that you could go somewhere and drive maybe 7 hours and go pick up a large format press from somebody who was trying to get rid of it because of COVID was affecting people's businesses. They had to get rid of equipment, and now it's almost the reverse. People are realizing that they need this to hold on to make their money. So that's a good sign, but it means that in the meantime, you're going to pay your premium to get into it at this stage of the game. Or you're going to wait the time. Okay, so Savannah, I think there's Savannah and someone else is close to Savannah. Something in Savannah is the one. Is Savannah the closest to Atlanta? Because we had a few people in that area too. So listen, y'all check out. Let's get with one another, okay? And once you have 4 people in your given area, if you need my help, let me know. But you can go ahead and make the contact yourself. I just want you to be clear on that you need single phase. Let me make a couple of notes here so y'all have it. Let's edit this real quick. All right, so you need it to be single phase. Single phase just means that it can go with your existing electricity. If you see 3-phase, that's the wrong thing. Most of you are going to have 220 volt, and make sure that you go through Alibaba for the contract. The contract terms, what I'm looking at right now is the press should be 1400. Shipping somewhere, shipping to port, not to your door. Don't go to them for shipping to your door. I'm going to tell you like this. They don't really know what happens inside the US. So what they do is they contact a shipping company to coordinate picking up from their facility and dropping it off to you. So that's something that I'm actually learning about because I want to be the person that I can go contact my own shipping company and let them coordinate from the manufacturer to me so I can get the best pricing. Because of course, if the sales agent is working out that shipping for you, they are getting a piece of the pie for shipping, and the sales agent who's working out the shipping is getting a piece of the pie. So if you can cut out that middleman and coordinate those things for yourself, then those things would cost a lot less in the future. Good thing about this is you're probably just buying one for hopefully a lifetime, so this isn't a big deal. But some of you who are interested in sourcing and going to China and purchasing blanks and equipment and that sort of thing, I would like for us to eventually even organize it to where we can take a trip there and understand about sourcing, understand about international trade and negotiating and all of that stuff. So if that's something y'all are interested in, let me know, because I'm always learning what you all want to learn. So shipping to the port, with all that said, should be about $550. Let's see, there was the incidentals. So incidentals, all right, incidentals, I got a range from anywhere from about I'm gonna say 250 to 600. I am trying to get an exact amount for each port. Now, according to them, this is what you pay at the port, and the port defines its cost. But I do believe that cost is based on, some factors like the weight, the price of the item or the value of the item and that sort of thing. So I'm just telling you to expect that. Now, if you think that they're going to coordinate shipping to your door, they've already told me that that's something around $1,800, and that does not include the incidentals. So if you go through them and you tell them, hey, just drop it off at my door, I don't even want to worry about nothing, you're spending a lot more money than you have to, because you could be spending somewhere around $600 to ship to the port, and maybe somewhere, depending on how far you are from the port, you can spend anywhere from $300 to $400 to get it to your home. So you stand to save about $1,000 just by coordinating the shipping from the port to your home yourself. Okay, I'm just letting you know that. So shipping from port to home. And here's the other deal. This is how it becomes cheaper. Shipping to the port for one person is $550. I've seen it to where some of them can be as low as $300 per person if you're doing 4, right? Then the shipping from the port to the home can be anywhere from, we'll just say $400, $500. We'll go a little bit higher. I had a whole car shipped to me before for $500, pretty much across the halfway across the United States. So I'm positive you can find somebody that will do it within this range, right? But if it's 4 of you and you're within a certain path that truck goes through anyhow, then maybe you can coordinate it to where, hey, instead of one of us paying you $400, we'll do $800, but I want you to drop off at 4 locations along the way. And then each of you are saving half of that value in shipping from the port to your home. And on top of that, you're starting to learn who's close by you, building a true network. So I guess, some of us who are in this Jacksonville, Savannah type area, we have a little network now. We know who's close by. If I run out of ink and I need to go, like, hey, Angela, I need you to print this for me, or Helena, can you do this for me, because my printer just messed up and I need 200 prints today. So we should be able to help one another out on a business level without feeling like we're complete competition and can't work as a unit, right? So we need that. Today I needed G to help me with something. He needed me to help him with some last minute artwork because he couldn't even be at the computer at the moment. So we're able to help one another. And I think that's the lesson that we teach least in any type of creative environment. And I got to be honest, any environment where we're doing entrepreneurship, minorities, that sort of thing, the least thing that we talk about is how we need one another within the same industry to work together. So you need your competitors to work with you sometimes, because that's what's going to get you through, having egg on your face when you can't come through for one of your clients. All right, so definitely let's go through. I just wanted to add a little few notes here. Let's see. I'll put a note here. Please coordinate with one another. One another is one word. No, one another. To see if you can get better rates for 4 or more shipping to port and shipping from port to your door. All right, so this is a good lesson. I want y'all to tell me how this is panning out for you, because I'm learning a lesson here too. We're all learning. All right, so I have a few more projects that I absolutely have to get done this evening, but they said they did not want it on YouTube, so I have to respect that and work on that solo dolo. So let me know if y'all have any questions before I get started on those projects, and I'll be sure to answer them before I head off this live. All right, and I thought the people with Epson just emailed me, but they emailed me that shipping would be free for, it's not Epson, this is B&H Photo. That shipping will be free, but they're supposed to let us know if we're going to get any type of special pricing on the 7270 and the 5270. So I'm asking that question right now. Is there any promotional price for the T7270 and or the T5270? Epson shirt color. And this is not what I intended to be doing, but this is this comes exactly full circle. If y'all don't know one thing about my background, actually I guess it would be two things. I have a background in textiles, product development, my bachelor's and my first master's, and then industrial engineering, which is manufacturing, engineering, ergonomics, and I even have a background in fashion design as well. So all of those things combined with me learning Photoshop when I was in high school is kind of what built me to where I am today. Of course, 99% of that was my dad instilling in me just any creative, inventive, innovative, artistic talent that he had, and conveying that through my brother and myself. So this it feels so odd to think that my life was so random that I would never use any of this stuff, and to be literally doing supply chain management and contacting people about being suppliers overseas, all things that I learned from my first degree, and I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to use that. It is literally all full circle, and it's so funny. Even down to the art versus the productivity, and the art versus the technical side of things. The way that I design the templates is literally so that we have form and function. So there's a little bit of engineering in the way that these templates are made. So anyways, y'all, just to let you know, sometimes your life isn't as random and chaotic as you think it is. It is all by design. Alright, so I'm sending this question about the shirt color. So if I get any word on that, I will certainly let you all know. When I get any further word about the printers, at the heat presses, I'm going to go ahead and get an official quote tonight for four presses, and I want to ask if we can get priority delivery. So hopefully we can get that going with the agreed upon shipping and incidental quote, and in the next 2 months y'all should see us over here with the big press. All right. So let me check on y'all one more time, these comments, make sure I'm not ignoring anyone. Oh no, that's a good question. So the amperage, usually, what is it? I'm trying to think just off the top of my head. It probably, I'm just guessing, it probably is going to require something like a 40 or 50. I'm just guessing, don't take my word for it. As a matter of fact, whatever your stove takes, I think is the it's basically what most people do is they create a dedicated slot, and they actually wire it directly to the electrical box with that space reserved just for this piece of equipment. So most people are like putting it in the garage, or even if they put it in the house, they're somehow wiring it to where it is directly to the box. Or if you're plugging it into the wall, you make sure that that is the absolute only thing that you have on that line for that breaker. Otherwise you probably will have, a couple of issues with your breaker breaking as soon as you turn it on, or possibly even melting some wires and hopefully not causing any fires or anything like that if you don't have the proper setup. So I believe there was a video for that, but I'll make sure. Matter of fact, let me put that on my list, my Google Keep. So let's message them about the amperage, and then also if they have a video of the setup, how to, maybe I can get the link to that video. And also, I know it was a 220 volt. So that's another thing that we need to put on the list of things that may cost, and it probably will cost. Let's edit this post. And here's another thing, if y'all are all going, you know, if y'all are in the same area, maybe you can even have the electrician work out a deal for you. Hey, if I'm doing one person's, it's not much more for me to come by and do, you know, this person's house, you know, close by within a certain radius, and be able to service all of you and offer you a group rate. And this is how we're able to, you know, work with one another and pull those resources. Electrical work may be required for your setup, and then that might cost extra. So let's say it might be anywhere from 200 to 500 again. Some people, at least you don't have to install the 3-phase electrical conversion or whatever to your system. That's one thing. Now, if you're going to wire it directly to the electrical box, you may want someone to do that. I'm sure there are things online that you can research to do it yourself. I played with electricity and I kind of got over that fear, but I think I would even still hire someone to do that electrical portion, because I just don't want to be liable if anything happens because of my faulty wiring and my YouTube University degree. Okay, so when it comes to electrical stuff, there are a lot of things I will do, you know, hands-on DIY, change some things out, but even myself, I will look into having someone professionally do that for me. Okay, so once I get that quote, I'll let you know exactly what they say that they have to do. If it's just installing the 220 volt yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead and get this. So listen, I will check back in with you all. I got another fire to put out, but in the meantime, in between time, you know, I love y'all and I appreciate y'all dearly. And until next time, I'm really excited until next time, for real though. So until next time, y'all know what it is. Bye.